Feminists attack gamers again. Steam is being forced to take games off their platform by evil credit card companies. It's a dangerous time for gamers. Let's talk about it. So why are Steam being forced to take games off their platform? Well, I'm glad you asked. So over the last week, Steam removed hundreds of adult-only games from their platform, and when pushed for an answer, we got this. We were recently notified that certain games on Steam may violate the rules and standards set forth by our payment processors and their related networks and banks. Oh, we'll get to exactly who ratted those games out in a moment. As a result, we are retiring those games from being sold on the Steam store because loss of payment methods would prevent customers from being able to purchase other titles and gain content on Steam. So, what rules and standards are being broken here? This must be massive and seriously upsetting. So the update to their rules and guidelines states, content that may violate the rules and standards set forth by Steam's payment processors and related card networks and banks, or internet network providers, in particular, certain kinds of adult-only content. Essentially what this means is that Steam no longer has the definitive say over what games are sold on their platform, which ironically is the opposite of what they've said previously. It appears the company, which previously said it would allow everything on Steam unless illegal or straight up trolling. Look, Steam's hands are tied here. They have to abide by the rules set by these credit card companies and banks because you have to use them to buy something. Now, you may have noticed this new rule is kind of vague. It's not specific at all. Alright, so content that may violate our rules but not our rules, rules made by someone else, cannot be published on our platform. In particular, certain kinds of adult-only content. We're not going to tell you which because we really don't know. Good luck. With that new rule, Valve are basically saying, look, it's not us, and even we don't know what is and isn't allowed anymore. Now what this means is that adult-only games may be done for on Steam, because developers may just see it as not worth their time if it may just get deleted anyway. So does that mean that these credit card companies and banks are against adult-only content? No. Actually, they actively profit from sites like OF, and were actually involved in a bit of a scandal where they were accused of failing to stop payments of very nasty things. This resulted in them cracking down on their rules and regulations, meaning if adult websites wanted to carry on using their services, they would have to abide by their rules, which is also what's happening on Steam. Because pixels are the same thing. Obviously. Look, there's no way in hell they're giving up the money that comes from the adult-only industry. They won't do that, so what they're gonna do is change the rules. It's this continuous battle because they still want all that money that comes from the adult-only industry. There is a lot of money in that game, but they also don't want to be associated with anything dodgy. They'll say it's to protect the brand. Okay, sure. Really, it's just because they don't want to be on the receiving end of a lawsuit. This is just the awkward position that the gaming industry finds itself in again, because no one outside of the gaming industry understands what gaming is. And the same rules and regulations and sometimes laws that apply elsewhere in the world also end up applying to gaming. Or not, if you're a mega corporation and can persuade the government to look the other way. Like, I don't know, being able to kill a product that someone has paid for. Yeah. But that's just speculation. I don't know if these things actually happen behind closed doors where these corporations have conversations with the government. Definitely does not happen, guys. Oh, not again. Now, MasterCard specifically finds all this here problematic and can result in a violation of their rules. Urine is on that list. Someone posted RIP Death Stranding. Now, the argument that people will use to defend the taking down of all of those games will be that it's degenerate and it promotes all kinds of abuse. Me personally, no, I don't. I personally do not like these games. I think they're a little weird, and sometimes when I see them, I think, you need Jesus. I'm not even religious, but you need Jesus. But here's the thing, I don't actively try and stop people from playing these games. I don't think that I'm some kind of supreme authority that has the right to dictate what can and cannot be sold on Steam. I just click on this little setting in Steam and I don't see them anymore. And people can play what they want to play. That's where I stand. I don't really care what other people play. What I really don't like is credit card companies and banks having the authority to tell developers what they can and can't do in their own games. This is a very dangerous path to go down, man. Very dangerous. That is something I can see spiraling very quickly until all female characters look like wrestlers from the WWE when they have to wrestle in Saudi Arabia. And you know what? It will be the same with male characters eventually. Now even the journalists are saying this is bad. What world are we living in? The very same journalists that love to speak out against games that have a little too much jiggle physics. You can never have too much jiggle. Once the adult-only content gets taken care of, what's next? Maybe one of these big companies are involved in a gun controversy and start censoring guns in games and dictating how guns can be portrayed in games, if they're allowed to be in games at all. No, Clinic. That would never happen. That's too far. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. You see, this is only happening to the adult-only content because it was brought to their attention by some angry feminists. The age-old tale of feminists being angry at men playing games. Yep. That's right, boys, we're now at the laughing at feminists portion of this video. I am a misogynist after all, at least that's what people like to call me. I mean, believe it or not, boys, but I actually have some female viewers. Yeah. Look, ladies, you're kind of ruining my reputation here. I'm supposed to be an incel, neckbeard, no-life, homophobe, racist, misogynist. Oh, and before I forget, there is a petition to stop these companies from being able to dictate what you can and can't spend your money on. So sign it if you want to. So let me take you back about 4 months when a very questionable game dropped on Steam. Feminists lost their minds. And the game was removed from Steam, and eventually I think some countries actually banned it. The studio behind the game released this statement. I fully understand that for many people such things may be disgusting, but during sex people should really do what they want as long as they don't harm anyone. This all brings into question the morality of a game that depicts this sort of thing. The thing is, it's actually not a wild out there fetish, which is weird all things considered, but it's really not. Men and women, by the way, are into that sort of thing. So if it's clear that it's a fetish being played out in a video game where it's all fake, I don't know. I don't know, man. Look, I don't know, man. I'm the wrong person to talk about all this stuff. I'm a germaphobe with OCD, man. Even the vanilla stuff freaks me out. All those fluids. Anyway, feminist organisation Collective Shout campaigned heavily against this game, hitting 70k signatures in their petition. Damn, that's a lot of people signing something about games that don't play games. Wow. Following that success, they encouraged their supporters, non-gamers, to email payment processors and call them to stop facilitating payments profiting from these games on Steam. So this is who you have to thank for Steam's new rule. Now before I go on, don't send these people hate mail or angry messages or anything like that. We don't condone that here. Criticize them, talk about them, but don't contact them directly and don't do that. Now, of course, they claim that since this win of theirs, they have received all sorts of harassment, and even decided to show us one over there on X. Notice this particular one, how it looks fake as f***. That email address is not a real thing. If they are receiving messages like this, it's most likely from someone who gets off on harassing people anyway. Probably doesn't even play games, they just saw an opportunity to do it, and they did it. Because doing that sort of thing does more damage to your cause than any good. Now, what these radical feminists claim to be against is the objectification of women and the sexualization of girls in media, advertising, and pop culture. So naturally, they target games, because everyone knows that when gamers see something in a game, they apply it to real life. Hence why all the hundreds of millions of people that play GTA 5 love to just go outside with a Desert Eagle and just start blasting. It's also why ever since I've played Dark Souls, I don't walk to the shops, I roll to the shops instead. Not to mention that ever since I played Mario for the first time, I now jump on people's heads too. Yeah, true story. I don't know why that this argument still exists that games somehow affect how people behave in society. It doesn't, and it's been proven that it doesn't. So I don't understand how they come to this conclusion that these adult-only content games will. Oh, and you can bet your ass that once these feminists are done with the adult-only content games, they'll be coming for Stellar Blade and The First Descendant next, and all their games that are like that. Because it's making men believe that women should look like this. The character's only purpose is to be objectified by the player. You know it's gonna happen because they believe that they have the power to censor things now, thanks to the credit card companies bending the knee. Well done, MasterCard and friends, you gave the power to decide what gamers get to play to radical feminists. Good job, congratulations. This is so dumb, and it makes them look so dumb. There are actual issues for women out there, especially in Europe. Take the UK, for example. Grooming gangs all over the country. An actual right now problem for young girls. I know that they're an Australian organisation, but since they want to dictate what gamers all over the world should play, surely they should be interested in this, no? Maybe if someone made a game about it on Steam, they'd actively try to get that game removed off Steam and claim that as a win. Now let's look at some of the issues or wins, as they like to call them, from Collective Shout. They've managed to pressure some people and companies into dropping their shares in strip clubs. They've convinced Temu to stop selling doll body parts that were being used for sexual abuse. Got Spotify to drop Andrew Tate courses. They got a hotel to stop their Playboy Easter event. Got a shop in Australia to stop selling shirts from the hub. They got some place to cancel an OnlyFans shoot because barely legal men were being used in the shoot. Got an investor to drop Playboy. Got Etsy to ban dolls. Got the government to go legislate against deepfake. Holy shit, they're the ones behind the age verification thing for adult sites. Well, good goddamn, boys. The more you know. Look, some of their wins here, the ones against the child stuff, I think we can all get behind. Not the reasoning exactly, but the thing that they're stopping itself. Take this one for example. They say these dolls are for men to practice these acts. No mention of who this type of thing is made for. You know, PDFs. It's just for men to practice. These deranged people can't even say who this is targeted for because it would go against their narrative that all men are disgusting animals. This is made for PDFs to get their rocks off. It's disgusting and you will not find any normal man who thinks this is okay. Clearly, language like this is used to push their narrative. Be specific. It's not men, it's PDFs. But a lot of this stuff is just petty nonsense. Like they really are the Karens of the internet. Someone throws a Playboy party at a hotel and they lose their minds. But again, not many of the big issues there. Their main goal seems to be trying to convince everyone that the media and pop culture is infecting men's brains and making them objectify women. When in reality, the media and pop culture just take advantage of something that's already there. You see, there's this not so hidden secret that men are attracted to women. Companies profit from that. If that upsets you, fine. But stop this narrative that men are some unchained, untempered beasts that are influenced by every piece of media. You know what? I didn't like boobs before. Thank you, Playboy, for opening my eyes. You changed my life. Yes, you. No, shut up. Going after companies that break the law, taking advantage of vulnerable women, and are involved in trafficking, sure, go after them. But coming at it from this made-up angle, this made-up narrative that if men see it in the media, then men will now think it's normal. It's not backed up with any data or statistics, and it makes them look like radical extremist feminists and makes them look dumber than they already are. And it is especially true that video games do not alter our perception of reality. If that were true after the last few iterations of EAFC giving the female footballers the same ratings, if not higher than the men's, we'd believe that women are just as good at football. But you see, we men, we cavemen, can in fact separate fiction from reality. Yeah, I said it. They also have a problem with the anime girl from Grok because of course they do. They are crying the victim now on X. Will there be threats? Probably. I don't know, but I don't condone them, like I said. But all the rest of the noise isn't abuse or harassment, it's this new thing they may not have heard of before. It's called criticism. Oh, and we gamers, we do like to criticize in autistic detail. The thing is, if they had just criticized these games, fair, criticism is allowed. But actively pursuing censorship? Nah, that doesn't fly with gamers. And I do have reason to believe that this will go further with them, because this old gem of an article right here features the co-founder of Collective Shout, who also has a degree in journalism, which explains everything, doesn't it? So what does she have to say here? Even when women are depicted as kicking ass, they have to be hot doing it. Attention is drawn to her sexual characteristics, with tight clothing emphasizing large, surgically enhanced breasts. It is almost assumed that boys wouldn't want to play games without sexy women in them. Yes, Melinda, no one wants to play a game where they look like you. Or me, or anyone average looking. We want to play as these outrageous looking characters. That applies to male characters too. We don't really see strong women depicted without being sexualized first. So, a company that's being led by someone who writes things like this, yes, I have reason to believe that they will pursue censorship in all kinds of gaming. Man, what is it with middle-aged women being jealous of video game characters? Could you imagine how pathetic it would sound if a middle-aged man was writing an article about how tight Leon's shirt is? It's turning women into sex pests and setting unrealistic bicep standards. It's pathetic. This organization deserves all of the criticism. All of it. Their arguments are flawed, and this win that they've had sets a dangerous precedent for what could happen in the future. Bear in mind that the reason they wanted it banned was not the reason for it getting banned. It was a manipulation of rules set in place by a different company that they used to get their win. What's funny though is that activist groups that you would associate as being supportive of a group like this don't support these people because they are anti-abortionists. They literally have no allies. And as of the making of this video, they are currently defending the show Cuties. Yep, these people are stupid. It's clear to me that while posing for the protection of women and young girls, what they really want is the power to determine what our media looks like. Anyways, thank you all for your support over the last few weeks. Let me know what you think about all of this. I'll see you in the next one.